Hey guys, we're doing well today. So in today's video I'll be talking the only Sunday game for round 3 of Super Rugby Trans Tasman. So this means I'll be talking the Rebels versus the Highlanders match. So of course the Rebels are playing at home, but in a weird way they're actually not playing in their the normal home, because obviously this game has had to be rescheduled from Melbourne, and it's actually now being played within Sydney due to, you could say, the travel restrictions within Melbourne due to the COVID outbreak there recently. So this game's now be playing within Sydney, but of course you can say that technically still means that the Rebels will have home advantage. When looking back at the previous games for the Rebels, they have lost both of them. Their most recent one against the Hurricanes. So they'll be definitely looking to respond or make a comeback from that game. So we'll have to see what happens there. On the other hand, though, the Highlanders have won both of their games, of course, against the Reds at home, and of course last week against the Western Force. They'll be looking to continue their recent form, and hopefully get another win out of the line. So anyway, here are the lineups obviously for both sides. I run them by you guys, and I'll tell you what I think about them, and I'll give my addition then afterwards. So obviously with the Rebels, you do the likes of Cameron Orr as well as Elof, who, in my opinion, you'd assume that they, within Super Rugby AU they are actually pretty good in my opinion, but within Super Rugby Trans Tasman they've just been, they've been beating a ton of, they've given a lot of penalties away within that scrum against the New Zealand side. So it's one of those where they are facing the likes of Ethan de Groot as well as Takalahi, and in my opinion this is actually their best combination for the Highlanders. I think Ethan de Groot has really stood out, I'd say, for the Highlanders within Super Rugby Altera, and has really just brought his A, or he can now bring his A game within this competition. So I think I have to go with the Highlanders within that position for sure. Anyway, moving on to the next one, obviously, which is the hooker spot. You do have the likes of Jordan Uwasi going against the likes of Liam Coltman. So this is going to be a good battle, because normally you would have had the likes of Ash Dixon there. Liam Coltman's getting a start, which is good to see. But Uwasi is just one of those players who I really like watching. He's a tall, it's weird that he's actually a hooker, because in my opinion, when I look at him on TV, he looks as tall as a lock. So it's kind of a weird one to have. But I actually like him a lot. I mean, you could say maybe he can improve on his line-out accuracy, but other than that, I mean, it's one of those which will be a tough competition for Liam Coltman, and I think for that reason I'm going to say it's a draw. I think that's going to be a draw for that position, I'd say. Anyway, moving on to the next position, obviously, which is the locks. For the Rebels, you do have the likes of Ross Helipelli, and his partner in crime will obviously be the likes of Trevor Hoseas, which is a good combination there. I mean, both of them, I'd say, when they both play together, I think the Rebels have actually done better, but we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I mean, they are facing the likes of Per Parkinson and Josh Dixon, which in my opinion is probably the best combination. I mean, you could say Bryn Evans has been very good for the Highlanders recently. Obviously, he does bring a lot of Super Rugby experience in his, you could say, CV, but more or less, I think the Per Parkinson Josh Dixon combination is just it just works better, and they have a lot more chemistry, you could say, within obviously playing within Super Rugby Altera. So I think for that reason I edge towards the Highlanders within that positions. But anyway, moving on to the loose forwards, of course, for both sides. With the Rebels, you do have the likes of Robert Lutet, who's actually shifted from a lock position to the 6 role. So it's an interesting move there, of course. You do have the likes of Michael Wells, of course, who's at 7th spot, and of course Isli Nazarani at the 8th spot, which is kind of a good one, because he's a proper number 8 in my opinion. In my opinion, there's only really 2 number 8s within Australia at the moment, and that's Nazarani and Harry Wilson. So it's one of those which I think both of them should do pretty well. I think Nazarani I've been very impressed with within Super Rugby AU especially. He was just really a key figure within that role. Hopefully he can bring his A game, because they will be facing the likes of Shannon Rizal at 6, as well as James Lenchies and Hugh Grant. So it's Hugh Renton. So it's one of those which it's going to be a close battle, but I think I'm going to have to edge it towards the Highlanders again, just for this one, because they do the likes of Shannon Rizal. Just he's a number 6 at heart, really. He's probably New Zealand's. I argue the fact that he's still New Zealand's best 6. It's a tough one to say, because obviously he hasn't played as much as other players, but you can still argue the fact that he's just he's a 6 by heart. So we'll have to see how he does within this game. But anyway, moving on to the backs, of course, for both sides. With those 9-10 combinations. For the Rebels, you do the likes of Joe Powell as well as Carter Gordon, who, in my opinion, Carter Gordon didn't have the best of games, to be frank, against the Hurricanes last week. But Joe Powell, I was very impressed by. He really held his own. So I mean, it's going to be a good competition, obviously, against Aaron Smith, who is the co-captain for the Highlanders. Of course, Ash Dixon and LeBenz being the other one. But his partner in crime will obviously be Mitch Hunt, and I think that combination is just so good now. They've really cemented that a good they have a lot more chemistry, I have to say, and they've developed that over the last two seasons, I believe. So yeah, it's more or less, I think that's the combination. I think that's going to work better. So yeah, for that reason, I edged it towards the Highlanders in that position. So moving on to the centres, of course, for both sides. With the Rebels, you do have the likes of Max Miller, who of course is the captain of the side, and his partner in crime will also be Campbell McNair. So a pretty good combination there, and I was very impressed by Campbell McNair. He got a try to his name last week against the Hurricanes. So yeah, it was a pretty good try for him, and it kind of showed that they're able to have a bit of creativity within that position as well. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. You do have the likes of Scott Gregory as well as Michael Collins, who actually have developed recently into a very good pairing, I'd say, for the Highlanders. They actually, if I'm right, they haven't actually lost a game with their pairing, but it's one of those which I just think Matamua and McNay, I feel more comfortable with those two as a center combination, and I think for that reason I'm going to edge it towards the Rebels within that position. Anyway, moving on to the next one, obviously, which is the wingers for both sides. You do have the likes of Corbetty at that 11 position, as well as Lockie Anderson at 14. So a pretty good combo there. A mixed bag with Corbetty being more of the battery round / speedster, and with Lockie Anderson being more of the playmaker / just reliable guy within that winger spot. So it's going to be an interesting combo there. But they will be facing the likes of course, Johnny Nareki and C.O. Tomkinson, who of course is a centre at heart, but of course been shifted towards the wing, and I think for that reason, I would have gone with the Highlanders here, but it's one of those which I think Corbett is just too dominant. So I think for that reason, I'm actually going to say it's a draw, but yeah, it's going to be a close battle, I'd say, within those winners, and I wouldn't be surprised if any of those winners get a try or not. It's one of those which we'll have to wait and see. Then with the last position, obviously with the 15 spot for both sides, you do have the likes of George Worth, and he'll be going against the likes of Sam Gilbert. In this position, I'm actually going to go with Sam Gilbert. I've been very impressed by him within the Highlanders team and with that 15 shirt. So yeah, I think he just has to continue his work. He's obviously I'm not going to say up and coming player, but he's actually done very well to get into that squad and kind of solidify his position at 15 spot, because that's been one of those positions which the Highlanders have never actually got figured out who can play there since Ben Smith left. So it's one of those which I think Sam Gilbert's done very well within that position. So yeah, hopefully he can just continue his form. But anyway, that's kind of what the lineups. If I had to say who actually wins this game, I think I'm going to edge it towards the Highlanders, but I think this is going to be a very close game. I actually think the Rebels will actually give a good challenge within this game, also being played within home. So I'm going to say this game will be, I think the Highlanders will only win this game by 5 points. So I say the Highlanders will win this game 25 points to 20. Yeah, 25 points to 20 is my final prediction for that game. But anyway, just hope you guys have a good day. And yeah, definitely comment below on what you guys think about this game. Do you guys think the Rebels can win and get the first victory for the Australian sides, or do you think the dominance of the New Zealand sides will continue? Yeah, anyway, just hope you guys have a good day, and yeah, talk to you guys soon.